So first of all, why would you even want to do speeches? I don't see them at every wedding. So what would be the point of it? Why would you take time from your wedding day or other situations we'll talk about? Why would you put people on the spot and make them talk in front of everyone? Why would you do this? First of all, it's kind of become, it's a pretty normal part of the wedding world. And it's pretty much expected at like every wedding. I would say 75% or more, maybe like 85 of all weddings I go to, there are speeches. So, that's pretty normal. But more than that, there's a reason why people do speeches. And it's a chance for people to get up there and talk about their relationships with the couple, to share some stories about the couple. And they can be really super entertaining. They can be really super emotional. Sometimes, the parents will get up there and talk about how thankful they are for everyone showing up. So there's a lot of things that kind of go on in these speeches. But for me personally, I think the best part of it, again, is just giving back information about the couple, about their relationship, about what you've seen, funny things about them, just making it about them. And I always find those really entertaining when I can see more and learn more about the couple from the speeches. So that's why I would say you do them. And as far as when to do them, there are kind of two options, and I kind of have gone through each one and why you might choose one over the other. So if you're doing a rehearsal dinner, sometimes people will do the speeches then. Sometimes they'll do some speeches there and then some at the reception. So you can do that also. So it could be like certain people are allowed to speak at the rehearsal dinner, and then other people will speak at the reception on the wedding day. So if you're doing the rehearsal dinner, it's a smaller group of people. There's nowhere, like you might have 20 people at the rehearsal dinner or 30 people maybe, versus a wedding where you may have 150 people. So it's a smaller group of people. It's your closer friends and family. It's more intimate. And, there's not usually a lot going on at the rehearsal dinner, so there is more time for speeches then. So in some situations, people will open up the floor and let basically anyone talk that's there. So I've also heard this happen several times. If there's someone you're concerned about, someone that you don't want getting up in front of 150 people at your reception, and you're afraid of what they're going to say, they're a bit crazy and ridiculous, then let them speak at the rehearsal dinner and don't let them speak at the actual wedding. So that they don't feel like they're being neglected. They feel like they still get to share, but they're only sharing in front of those people, that smaller group of people that kind of already know who they are and what they're like. So it's not nearly as embarrassing or cringeworthy. Now, the more traditional way I would say is probably at the reception. There's a larger group of people there. It's a more formal situation, so most people giving speeches will kind of, pull it back a little bit and not go too crazy. I've still seen some crazy ones, but it's usually just the best man and maid of honor. Maybe the parents might say some things, but it's usually not like an open mic situation. Like, at least I hope it's not an open mic situation, because then it could just last forever, which we'll talk about in a minute. But there's no right or wrong as far as choosing which one to do. Like I said, if I was gonna say, I would probably say let some people talk at the rehearsal dinner, and then limit it to a few people at the reception. That would be my thought, because you don't want to spend a lot of your time at the reception listening to people talk. There's dancing, interacting, cake eating, lots of stuff to do. You don't want everyone just sitting there for a long time having to listen to people talk. Which goes into the tips. Oh my dear goodness. I still remember this one wedding video from probably like 4 years ago. Oh my gosh. I am so glad I wasn't, well, it sounds really horrible when I say it that way. I'm glad I wasn't there to have to video it and edit it. I was the one who had to edit the video later, so I had to listen to this speech anyway. But if I had to be there to listen to it in person and listen to it while I was editing, I probably would have bashed myself in the face. This father got up there, and I'm not exaggerating, talked for probably 45 minutes. 45 minutes. And I mean, yes, there was some good stuff in there, but dear Lord, no one wants to sit around and listen to you talk for 45 minutes about stuff. No. And it was miserable. And I said I couldn't see how the crowd was acting because I wasn't there, but if I would have been in the crowd, I would have been very frustrated. And this goes for speeches in general, guys. Don't let people go on and on and on and on. I would tell people beforehand, you got up to 5 minutes to talk. Each person, 5 minutes, that's it. Do not go over that. Do not be talking for 20 minutes. You don't need to go that long. People do not want to listen to you talk for that long. 5 minutes is plenty of time to get your point across and do what you need to do up there. So, I mean, if you have 4 people that end up giving speeches, that's still 20 minutes of people talking. And I think that's plenty of time for speeches. So if you take anything from today, please don't let people talk for 45 minutes a piece. Please don't. All right. Now, this next one also, again, you have to be kind of careful about this because you don't want to offend people or make people really upset. There are some people that just aren't good at public speaking. Okay, it's not a talent of theirs. They may even be afraid of it. They don't like it. And then there are other people who are just amazing at it and can just walk up there and blow people away. And then there's those people, again, that you're afraid of what they're going to say and you're afraid they're going to talk forever. So, guys, feel free to tell people or ask people to speak and others not to speak. You know, it's your wedding, guys. You have to have some control. So again, if there's certain people that you don't think would do a good job, then say, hey, can you say something at the reception or at the rehearsal dinner instead of the reception? Or hey, you don't even have to do the speech if you don't want to. Because some people would much rather have an out and not have to do it than feel like they have to do it. And then again, those crazy people who you're afraid of, you know, you can let them talk at the rehearsal dinner or not even let them talk there if you don't want to. And again, you don't have to be super traditional about this. Like the traditional, like I said, is the best man and maid of honor. But guys, feel free to let someone else talk if they're going to do a better job than the best man's going to do. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. And as I said, crazy people, rehearsal dinner. Now, if you're really super concerned about the people or just concerned about what's going in the speeches, ask them to let you see what their speeches are beforehand. So one, if they haven't planned a speech and they were just going to wing it, you can say, no, don't do that. But if they have something in their speech that you really don't want said in front of everybody, you can ask them to cut it out. So I don't think that's a horrible thing to do, to ask certain people to see their speech beforehand. But, I mean, I wouldn't do that with everybody, just those people you're kind of concerned about. Which I kind of said this in a minute ago. Guys, if you're ever at a wedding and you're going to give a speech, please plan it. Please prepare something. I've very rarely seen a winged speech go well. It's usually a lot of wasted time and talking in circles and, just like me talking up now. I mean, I am not super planned and I'm still wasting time saying things that don't make a lot of sense. But if I had planned all this and had it completely written out, it would be very smooth. It would be very well done. So make sure they are planning and preparing in advance. Don't let them just show up and be like, yeah, I'll get up there and I'll say something. It's going to be wonderful. No, please don't do that. Also if they have notes and stuff, maybe don't read it off a phone. It just doesn't, I don't know. There's just something about having a phone in your hand that just doesn't look super professional. Or I don't know. I'd rather see even a piece of paper in their hand than a phone. If the people have no idea where to start with their speech, honestly, it's not a horrible idea for them to Google wedding speeches to get a general idea, to get some jokes, to get a guide on where to start. Start off by telling a story or a joke about your past relationship with the groom. Okay? So there are ways that people can do better at that. Okay. Make sure there's some kind of microphone or sound system. You don't want someone up there mumbling the whole time and no one can understand what they're saying because they can't hear them. But you also don't want someone having to scream as loud as they can for someone to hear them in the back. Just simply have some kind of sound system. Now, if you're hiring a DJ, that's probably already going to be taken care of. But make sure you ask the DJ and you make sure that that is something they include. Okay, do they have a wireless mic so they can walk around with it? I would always ask the DJs and people you're hiring what is included. Now, another fun thing about the microphone that I've had happen before is instead of holding it up to their face, holding a microphone up to your face, they were like holding it at their belly button. They're just like real casual. You can't even see it. They're like real casually holding it down here. And microphones do not work that way. You cannot hear someone and the sound will not be good if you are holding the microphone that low. Okay, so just another thing you might remind them, hold the microphone actually close to your face so that it works. All right, so as far as some other things, I tell a story, guys. I love stories. People love hearing stories. And most of the time we don't know this about the couple. I mean, it's very unlikely that everyone in the wedding at the reception has heard the stories. Okay, there's something probably from their childhood or a relationship, something funny, but make sure the story has a point to it. Don't just tell a random story just for fun. I mean, make sure the story is leading somewhere. It says something about your relationship with them. It says something about their character, who they are. Something, not just a random story. Yes, the stories can be funny and embarrassing even, but just make sure that you have a balance of negative, making fun of, and praise for the couple. You never want to be overly negative and just like bash the groom the whole time. I mean, it's funny to bash the groom a little bit, but make sure you're swinging back to that positive side and not just ripping him one. Also, make sure you talk about both people. So like when the best man speaks, he's going to focus mainly on the groom, but he also needs to talk a little bit about the bride and what he's seen about her. So make sure you're talking about both people in the couple, not just one person versus the other. When you are talking, it is a good idea to look at the couple, of course, but then also talk to the audience, because it makes the audience feel more engaged when you are looking at them and then looking at them and then looking at them. So make sure you go back and forth and you're not just staring at the floor or staring at one thing or the other. I think that will help a lot in keeping people engaged. And we are almost done. Make sure you are speaking slowly and clearly. I know, like I said, some people are really not great at public speaking, and a lot of people will start speaking very quickly to try and get done with it, or they'll just kind of jumble their words together. The point of the speech is for people to hear you and understand you. So make sure you are not just going super fast, and make sure people can, understand it. And part of this goes to making sure you've practiced this. If you practice this once or two times at home, you'll be much more prepared than if you just walked up there and tried to read your speech off a piece of paper or whatever. So please prepare a little bit. You know, weddings are a big deal. Your speech is part of that wedding. So make sure you are putting some effort into it. And my last thing, I always end on a positive note. So like I said, no matter how much you make fun of them or whatever you say, you know, always end talking about how the couple is amazing for each other, how you hope they have a great future ahead of them. They're going to be awesome. You know, whatever you have to say, but always end on that positive note to make it a happy ending. All right. I know I was talking quickly. So even sometimes I talk quickly and not clearly when I'm trying to get through all this information. All right, let me see if I can go back to my face. Where's my face? There's my face. So really, guys, I know, like I said, the speeches aren't the biggest part of the wedding day. They're really not. I mean, but honestly, they can be some of the most entertaining, educating, influential, I don't know what you want to say, part of the day. Especially if you're doing video. I love it when we're doing video because I take the speeches and I mix it into the video, and people will, as long as they say a few good things, they will make it into the video, and it really does help having that extra audio with them talking about things. So take a few of those tips. Feel free to share them with the people doing speeches at your wedding. Make sure they are prepared and they have stuff planned out. And the biggest thing I said, like, for my sake, for your sake, for the everyone at the wedding's sake, do not let them talk for 45 minutes about stuff. Okay, 5 minutes is plenty of time for them. All right, guys. So again, if this was helpful, please leave a comment. If you have something else you'd like me to talk about, then feel free to leave that in there as well. If you'd rather just reach out and contact me, I am here to help you guys. I'm going to hop off here, go back to editing, going back to doing the things I do. And, you know, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. It is almost Halloween, so yay for that. Candy and fun stuff. And you guys just enjoy the rest of your day. All right, see ya.